Welcome to Kathavarni, sacred stories from Hindu scriptures, beautifully narrated to help you find peace and drift into sleep. Tonight, we journey to the village of Vrindavan, where a mischievous blue-skinned boy steals butter and hearts. Close your eyes, breathe deep, and let the story begin. Krishna, the butter thief. In the little village of Vrindavan, where the air smelled of flowers and the river Yamuna flowed gentle and clear, there lived a boy with blue skin and twinkling eyes. A boy named Krishna. He was the darling of the village, loved by everyone who met him. The cows would follow him wherever he went. The birds would sing when he laughed. And the peacocks would dance when he played his little flute. But Krishna was also very, very mischievous. And there was one thing he loved more than anything else in the world: butter. Fresh, creamy, golden butter. Every morning, the women of Vrindavan would wake before sunrise. They would milk their cows and churn the milk into the most delicious butter you can imagine. The churning ropes would go back and forth, making a soft rhythmic sound that filled their homes with music. They stored the butter carefully in clay pots. Pots they decorated with flowers and hung from the rafters, high, high out of reach. Or so they thought. You see, Krishna had a plan for every pot of butter in the village, and he had friends to help him. A whole band of little cowherd boys who were always ready for adventure. Sometimes, Krishna would slip into a house when the lady was busy with her household work. While the elderly gopis went about their cooking and cleaning, Krishna and his friends would creep inside. They would stack up pillows, or overturn a wooden mortar, or pile up grinding stones and planks, climbing higher and higher until Krishna's little fingers could reach the pot hanging from the ceiling. Then he would poke a small hole in the bottom and let the butter drip right into his mouth, drop by golden drop. Sometimes his brother Balram would join in too, helping him reach the highest pots. Other times, he would wait until the house was dark. The women thought they were so clever, hiding their butter in the darkest corners where no one could see. But Krishna didn't need a lamp. The jewels he wore around his waist and neck sparkled with their own soft light, just enough to guide him through the shadows to his treasure. He would scoop out handfuls of butter, eating some himself and sharing the rest with his friends, and even with the monkeys who followed him everywhere. The monkeys loved Krishna. They would sit beside him in a circle, their little cheeks stuffed with butter, their eyes shining with happiness. And when the monkeys had eaten their fill and wouldn't take any more, Krishna would break the pot, just for fun. The sound of shattering clay would echo through the house, and by the time anyone came to look, Krishna and his friends would be gone, vanished like morning mist. And oh, the mischief didn't stop there. Sometimes Krishna would sneak into a neighbor's cowshed and untie all the calves before it was time for milking. The calves would rush to their mothers and drink up all the milk. When the master of the house saw what had happened, he would get so angry. But Krishna? Krishna would just stand there and smile. That smile! No one could stay angry when they saw it. Sometimes, if Krishna went to a house and couldn't find any butter at all, he would get so grumpy. His little face would scrunch up. And for his revenge, he would pinch the babies of the house until they cried, and then run away giggling. Oh, what a rascal he was! But even when he was naughty, no one could stay angry at Krishna for long. One look at his innocent face, one flash of his mischievous smile, and all was forgiven. One by one, the women of Vrindavan came to Mother Yashoda's house. They gathered in her courtyard, their hands on their hips. "Yashoda," they called, "your son has been stealing our butter again. He lets the calves loose so they drink all the milk. And then he sneaks into our homes and takes all our butter. When we try to catch him, he just laughs and runs away." They tried to look angry, but their eyes were twinkling. They tried to complain, but their voices were full of love. The truth was, they adored Krishna's mischief. They actually felt sorry for Yashoda. "Poor Yashoda," they would whisper. "Krishna plays all his sweetest pranks in our houses, not in his own." They only pretended to be upset so they could talk about Krishna for hours. Yashoda looked at her son. Krishna stood beside her with the most innocent face you ever saw. His eyes were wide like lotus petals. His lips were pouty. He looked like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, even though everyone knew it already had. "My Krishna would never steal butter," Yashoda said, hugging him close. "Look at this sweet face. I give him all the butter he wants right here at home." And she kissed his forehead, even though she knew every word the women said was true. The women sighed. They couldn't argue with a mother's love. They looked at Krishna one more time, and he smiled at them. That smile, it was like sunshine breaking through clouds. It made them forget all about their stolen butter. They went home with full hearts, already looking forward to his next visit. One morning, Yashoda decided to churn butter herself. All her maidservants were busy, so she sat down with the churning pot and rope, ready to make the freshest butter, just for her darling boy. She sang softly as she worked, songs about Krishna's smile, Krishna's laugh, Krishna's sparkling eyes. The churning rope went back and forth, and Yashoda's heart was full of joy. Krishna heard his mother singing. He toddled over, wanting her attention. He climbed right into her lap and stopped the churning rope with his little hands. Yashoda laughed and gathered him close. She let him drink milk from her breast while she held him. Her precious boy, her whole world. But then, she smelled something burning. The milk on the stove! It was boiling over! Yashoda gently set Krishna down. "Wait here, my darling," she said. And she rushed to save the milk. Krishna was not happy. Not happy at all. His little lips turned red with anger. He bit them with his tiny teeth. His eyes filled with pretend tears. How dare the milk take his mother away? He looked around the room, and his eyes fell on the pot of fresh yogurt. With one small hand, he picked up a stone. And, crack! He broke the pot. The yogurt spilled everywhere. But that wasn't enough. Krishna toddled into a quiet corner of the house and found a pot of golden butter. He sat down on an upturned wooden mortar and began to eat. Handful after creamy handful. He whistled softly, and his monkey friends came running. They gathered around him, and he fed them butter too, pushing handfuls into their little mouths. When Yashoda came back and saw the broken pot, the yogurt spreading across the floor, She couldn't help but smile. She picked up a stick, not to hurt him, just to scold him a little, and followed his tiny butter footprints through the house. She found her little butter thief sitting in the corner, balanced on the mortar, feeding butter to happy monkeys. His eyes were darting here and there, anxiously wondering if his mother would catch him. Butter was smeared all over his face, his hands, his clothes. He looked up at her with those big, guilty, innocent eyes. "Oh, Krishna," she laughed, dropping the stick. "What am I going to do with you?" And Krishna just smiled up at her. That smile that could melt any heart. The smile of the one they called Makhanchor, the butter thief. Yashoda picked him up and held him close, butter and all. She kissed his cheeks, his forehead, his little butter-covered fingers. This was her Krishna. This was her joy. And Yashoda knew something the other women didn't. When Krishna stole butter, he wasn't just being naughty. He was giving them a gift, a reason to come together, to share stories, to laugh, to love. He was reminding them that the sweetest things in life are not meant to be locked away. They are meant to be shared. And so, every time you see butter or taste something sweet on your tongue, remember little Krishna of Vrindavan. Remember the boy